Welcome to Owning This Life and thank you for being here. Before we get started, I want to ask you a little favor. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. We want to have an opportunity to bring to you the best content, and it requires you as our community to assist us in getting there. Now that that's done, go ahead and enjoy our interview with Shiraz Reddy. Hi Owning This Life family, it's me MJ again. Welcome to another episode of Owning This Life. Today Phinius is back with us.
What's up, people?
And we have an amazing guest, someone that I actually met by complete accident. Okay.
Literally.
Like, walked into him on the streets in Cape Town a couple of years ago. So hi to Shiraz Reddy.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
So you are really well known in Cape Town.
No, I don't think so. I think I just know
so.
well-known people, and I happen to be in those spaces with them, and therefore, you know, the aftermath is that I get to be well-known, I guess, in some other way.
Well, okay, to me, you are very well known because I remember the day I walked into you in the street of Cape Town and I was with my camera. Let me take some pictures of you. And then when I posted, I was like, oh my word, he's a whole influencer. I had like 300 followers.
The best pictures that I have of myself that is street style and just organic. And I don't even think we planned it properly. Like, I think I just
just took pictures.
Dressed in like a black and white outfit.
I sent you a message because I was like, he's an influencer. Let me see if I can actually
it was really
get my
fun.
following.
And you were here on a holiday at the time. Yeah, I remember that.
No, actually, you know what we were doing here? I was filming 3 episodes of Owning This Life here while I was working at a conference.
Oh my gosh.
I just thought, okay, since I'm here, I might as well try and make my photography a little bit better.
Love that.
That didn't work for much longer. But your images actually are on
Can
my
I just
portfolio.
say, those are iconic. They are in my maybe rate card of like 3, 4, 5 years ago because I love them so much. They're still very much on my Instagram, so go look for it. Many posts down. But they are there. And I think what I love about that is, besides the fact that we met, very similar to this environment that we're in right now. It's organic. I just met Phinius for the first time and we were vibing and talking, you know, off the set. But I just love that we were able to just connect. And it was lekker and we just got each other and it just flowed from there organically because I'm all about organic connections.
No, because you're very honest. And you know how rare that is. Especially in a...
Girl, what is lying going to get me?
No, but
what is me being another version of myself going to get me? It's not going to get me anywhere.
What I find is people come to Cape Town. Like in Cape Town, since I've come here, I think someone actually said this to me earlier. Cape Town and Joburg have a very different way of handling things. So Joburg people are straightforward. We're straight to the point. We don't have time. But Cape Town people will talk you down a road.
They'll walk on eggshells. They'll find a way to make it work for themselves. But what you really don't realize is that they're actually just trying to downplay who you are to upplay who they are. And that's a really bad thing because firstly it comes from this cliquey culture that Cape Townians have. And even though I've lived here for like almost 15 years, I still till today battle with it. And it's, you know, yes, I get it, girl. I get it.
It's a lot for my soul. You're not from Cape Town. How did you get involved here?
With what?
Because the people just accepted you with open arms.
I'm a Tosi from Limpopo, man.
I
I know how to maneuver around trends. Like you said, I mean, it's once people connect on it organically, authentically, I think it's very easy to flow. And I think one of the questions that I asked you is, you know, is there anything off limit with asking a question? You said you're an open book. And I was like, aren't you afraid of people using the open book side of you against you? Because that's what happens. That's why people are so closed off, because they're afraid that somebody will find out stuff about them and then expose them. And that's the question that I wanted to ask you, but I don't know what the boss lady is up to.
I think so for me, I'm going to answer it with the boss lady being here or not. But a big thing for me is the fact that not being an open book hasn't gotten me very far. And I've been very transparent in everything that I've done, whether it be in my normal 9-to-5 working as a publicist, or it be in any of my freelance pursuits, also just as someone who is very much aware of the fact that I have a voice within like the digital content creation space that I find myself in.
Yeah.
You really don't have an option to be like, oh, I'm not going to share this. There's certain things you can keep to yourself, and there are definitely things that I keep to myself. One of those things is like, I only put my family and my immediate family, that is, to the forefront of who I am when I'm comfortable enough to do it.
Okay.
I have a sibling who's also in a similar space, so they do that on themselves, and that's on him to do. But the rest of them, they didn't choose this life, so let them, you know, I'll bring them in where they can. But otherwise, I would not also be, and I'm going to say it because I'm in the season of really patting myself on the back and owning my success. And I would not be somewhat of a success story today had I not made the conscious decision a number of years ago to be like, just be authentic, be yourself, and be freaking honest. I don't know what the level of swearing is on this thing.
Oh, no. Like, we have a rule.
Because
he doesn't swear or I use shit. So I'm just like...
Because people will be a shitty version of themselves to ensure that they step on you, to be ahead of you so that they can win at what I'm trying to do. And I realized that very early on in my years in Cape Town, in my career in Cape Town, but just in general, in life. Therefore, if you don't like me, if you don't like my personality, and if you don't like the way I approach things and take things on, then goodbye.
I mean, a lot of people dim their light, to to feed into people's insecurities. So when I think the first contact with you, my mindset was like, who's this person? You know, and there's a certain atmosphere or energy that you come with. That is, you either gonna submit under or you're gonna go above it. So when and a lot of people, they will come into this space and say, you know, in order for me to be myself, I need to feel safe. But if you are a safe person, you are safe anywhere you go.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, a lot of people, it's like, I need to find a safe space. But I think safe spaces comes with taking a risk. And I think you are that person. When you come into your room, you own the space. A lot of people don't know how to own spaces wherever they go. It's like, if it's hell, it's going to remain hell. But I think with you can walk into hell and turn it into a little bit of a paradise. And I think that's a little bit of the energy that I'm feeling.
Thank you. I try.
You are able to bring life into that situation.
I try and sprinkle a little bit of like positivity. And no matter where I go, no matter what I do, no person is above or below me. We're all equal. And also, every other person is worse off than you guys. Let's be honest. You complain about load shedding, you complain about not getting paid on time, blah, blah, blah. There's someone that's not getting paid at all. There's someone that has zero electricity and doesn't even know what it's like to have electricity because they've lived their whole life by candlelight in a gas stove. So for me to think that, oh, my life is so bad. My life is not the easiest, but it's not like I'm going to be oblivious to the fact that there's a room full of people and everyone here is battling something. And let's be honest, their battles may be deeper than mine, but it's just not showing on the surface. So why am I coming in here thinking that, hey, look at me for what?
No, that is something I actually need to learn to have on the surface of the, in my mindset all of the time. Because, you know, sometimes you get stuck in stuff for so long that it's difficult to even recognize that other people are going through something. What I wanted to say to you is you're working in the PR space where superficiality
is everyone's primary name.
Sells everything, right? How do you stay authentic in that world? Because I've worked in PR, it's 14 plus years. And they got to a point where I was just like, I don't want to deal with some people at all anymore because the superficiality doesn't actually have any substance to it. And jobs always fail with the people who are trying to look for leverage over authenticity.
You know, I love that you bring that point to the table. And I think for me, a big thing is that when I started working full-time in PR, because for about 4 years prior, I worked in broadcast media. And for those people that don't know this, and I'm not going to assume that people do, but my career started in radio. So I studied PR and media, I worked in radio, I worked at a well-known radio station based in Cape Town. And I will always pay homage to her, and that is Stacey Norman. She's at East Coast Radio in Durban now, but Stacey and I worked on a show from 10 to 1 in the evening. I'll mention it, I'm sure, is that okay? KFM. And the first thing that she said to me the first day I was on air, she was like, okay, when we're done here, I'm going to just tell you something. She's like, stop being the radio version of you. She's like, we don't need the radio version of you. You didn't get, and it was an internship, and they put me on air in the first week of the internship, which I was really grateful for, but also very nervous and blessed. But had she not said that to me, I would have been the other version of myself saying, okay, and the next song is by Backstreet Boys. Can't see we weren't even playing Backstreet Boys. You know what I mean? Like, I was never going to be that person. And had I not taken it upon myself then already to be like, I'm always going to be myself, the doors were never going to open for me. And staying authentic within the industry that I'm in now, because I now work full-time in PR, I often battle with convincing the client that they need to be true to themselves, but it will be an injustice to myself if I wasn't myself and if I didn't bring that forward to the client and show them what being true to themselves and their brands and the projects and campaigns and the things that they stand for, how it won't work. Because we see many a brand failing because they want to be like that other brand on the shelf.
It doesn't work.
And I work in consumer brands, so I totally get that we also need to be a part of that culture that educates people instead of just indoctrinating and giving information. And that's one of the things that I stand for, so that's how I do it. I try and remind myself of who I am, then remind the clients of who they are and how bringing the two together can benefit what it is that we're trying to do at the end of the day.
And how did you learn that? Because that's not an easy thing.
A
lot of people try to be authentic end up losing money. So a lot of time you have to choose between the bag and being authentic and being yourself.
You just answered it. I stopped chasing the bag when I started chasing my mental health.
Okay.
And I'll be very honest with you.
Mental health over the bag.
That's his topic.
It was. And I'll be very, and Phineas, at the age that I'm at and at the stage and the phase in my life where I am right now, a lot of my peers that I grew up with back home in Pretoria are light years ahead of me. They own more than one property. They own more than one car. They've traveled overseas at least once a year in the last 6-7 years. And there are many of those things on that list and other things that I haven't been able to do because what did I do early on in my career or midway through the last 15 years was decide, to hell with you telling me how I must work. I want to work the way I want to work with respect of how the organization runs, but choosing my mental health was so important for me because gone are the days where you can say that in the year 2024 you can sit behind a laptop and the keyboard warriors are emailing you because they can't speak to you face to face. Now come at me correct. Because I will say to you, that is not okay. And I am all about the pushback because at the end of the day, we're just a number in an organization. You are replaceable because everybody is. This is not Beyonce and irreplaceable. And no person is better than you because no man is an island. So stop thinking like that. Stop thinking that I must put all my eggs in the basket because this job is the only job I'm going to have. And really, guys, what it is you inherit that from, and unfortunately, parents, grandparents, older siblings who have worked the same job for 35 years because they were too scared to ask their boss for an increase. They were too scared to ask for a new promotion. No. Ask for it because what you're doing for yourself is you're reminding yourself of your value. And that is what I've been able to do. And had I not done it, I would have probably been living in Mauritius and planning a holiday to Spain because...
But they're not having fun because you're working on behalf of someone else and building their dream.
And you're working on a Sunday at 5 o'clock when I'm laying on my couch, no longer watching the 7-Delan Omnibus, but something else on a platform. But it is what it is, and I'm okay with that because... When I wake up in the morning, I'm also just like, I open my curtains and I'm like, I pay the rent here. I don't owe anybody. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't have to ask my mother to cover any of my costs. And there are people that are going home every day. They work really hard. They earn a shit ton of money. But let's be honest. When do they spend it? They're 37, but they look like they're 47.
Dude.
I'm proudly 36, and I look 26. And I love that because I am real with myself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm never going to be a version of what you want me to be because I can't do that.
So who keeps you in that mindset? Because is there a circle of friends, that keep you, like, hold you accountable when it comes to...
I wish there was a circle of friends. I just is.
Okay. I mean, you said no man is an island unto himself. I'm sure you have a community of dope people.
I do.
Who keep you sharp. So how...
Definitely my family. I have a very close-knit family. I have parents who, and I've mentioned this to you before, is that I am so blessed with parents that are super open-minded. I love that I also grew up in a community where there was no race, there was no age, but there was respect. There was understanding. And if there's one thing that I know for a fact that my parents did for me that I hope other kids or other people out there get to experience, is that my parents never just listened, they heard what I was saying. And I feel like even me as an older person, I don't have children, but I do have nieces and a nephew, and I listen to what they're saying, but I really want them to know that I hear what they're saying. And that is one thing that I also have in my friendship circles is we listen to one another, and we're all in very similar environments work-wise. Some work in media, some work in PR. One of my very best friends actually works in a human rights organization, but we share social media as like a familiarity and something we have in common. He's also an influencer. And what I love is that when we have conversations, it's like us. We flow in here. We're having an open conversation. There's no script. You're not pulling up questions. And it's like that. We speak about authentic things. Like there are struggles, everyday struggles. And if you don't speak about the things that have defined your days to make you see another day, then you're really not being a human. You're just a robot living every day because you have to. And not because you want to.
Now that's beautiful, because what is very interesting to me and Megan had an interview prior, and we were talking about being older, being in a space where you're not trying to attain the things that other people our ages are doing, right? I mean, Megan did career change at 40. I basically did that at 37. You're similar age. I think there comes a point where you realize that running after money is only going to last you so long. You're losing your health, you're losing your mental health. You're not having those authentic connections.
And the money runs
with people.
out.
And you need those authentic connections. I feel like community, since moving to Cape Town, I'm realizing how important community actually is.
Very.
Now, what I want to ask you is, so you come from Pretoria, you're in Cape Town now. How are you translating this authenticity through to the people here? Because like I said earlier, this cliquey idea is concerning to me to a degree, because I feel like the people who have gifts and talents and things that they should be doing are holding themselves back based on the mindset in the community.
I want to answer you that, but I just want to say this. You speak about a career change, and people don't really know this. I don't often speak up about it, but I had some big challenges in my career. I worked at an agency for 5 years who was very respectful of my side hustles and my styling, my influencer work, and all of those things. And they're very much a PR agency. And as much as I loved working there and I thoroughly enjoyed their company, and 5 years is a long time. I was with them during COVID as well, but the amount that I've learned in the last 2 years since working there, I don't think I would have ever learned in the 5 years there. So making the change in my career and leaving a familiar space for the unknown was the best gift I could give myself, because I challenged myself, and at the same time I was able to own what it is that I really wanted to own for myself. And that brings you to answering a question about authenticity and bringing that with that upbringing from Pretoria, because guys, it's weird that we live in so many different cities on our continent, but it's almost like it's different countries, but it's just really different cities. But culture is so different, and what I love to bring into, I always make reference, is so that when you walk down in a town like Pretoria, there's still a lot of diversity and work around diversity that needs to happen there. We're very aware of that. Culture in a particular language and a particular way of living is still very prominent. But what I am always for is a change agent for changing the minds of the people that I'm connecting with. So if I can say to you, but guys, this is not a very diverse approach to how you're doing things. It will be, again, an injustice to myself and my upbringing if I didn't bring that to your attention. And I always say to my friends, I'm like, guys, we're so we want to do this really cool trip and we all want to go away and create content, but we all look the same in the room.
Yeah.
Our content is all going to look the same. We all dress the same. We all speak the same. We all look the same. Why don't you bring a friend? I bring a friend, and we mix it up. You know, and if one person does it amongst every 10 people in a room of 100, that's 10 people who has changed their perceptions. You know, and as humans, we wake up every day, we put on a filter on our social media, but really, what are you doing? You're managing the perception that the public has of you. But then you say you don't care what people have to say. I care. Lies.
Every day.
Every day. So, really, what are you doing? You're just fulfilling that role that society has put you in there instead of pushing against the envelope and against the grain. And that's what I like to do. People always say to me, oh, but Shiraz, you know, just do like a get ready with me video. I don't want to stand in my underwear like that on my Instagram because that's not who I am. But what I will show you is how liquor I look in my clothes without needing to be in my underwear. Because if 4 other influencers in the same category does it the way I do, or at work, Shiraz, when we're presenting, no, I'm going to get up from my chair and stand in that boardroom and tell this company that we work for, these are the things that we're going to be doing, and expressing yourself. Like, why are we so scared to stand up for who we are?
Because we don't know who we are.
And that is a big problem that we have in society, because why? I want to look like you, I want to look like him.
Copy and paste.
And I'm so tired of that. That's the one thing that I use to differentiate myself in a room. And again, to answer your question, is to be authentic. I stand in who I am all the time. I'm never going to stop doing that, because if I was another version of myself, like I said early on, I honestly don't think I would have been where I am today in my career.
I think the other thing I'm thinking of, because to be honest, you're a definition of freedom as I'm listening to you. There's this guy that I listen to called Frederick Douglass, and one of the things he said is that I would have saved more slaves if they knew they were slaves. You know, so sometimes I think that some people, we cannot help them until they acknowledge that they need help. You know, like your sense of freedom is going to be very hard for some people to really tap into or grasp, because they don't know who they are, you know, and until somebody like you educates them. So my hope that even this podcast makes people look in the mirror and say, I need to be free, because as I listen to you right now, it's like, you're not a beggar. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, we have a lot of beggars in the world who are always begging for validation, also for the likes, because I don't know how you do it in your industry. Because every time when you get recruited, people look at your followers, and your followers becomes your wealth. You know, and how do you not measure yourself with the amount of people that follow you?
And you know, as you're saying that, something that I say often to my friends that are in the influencer and content creation space is that, did you forget why that person is following you? Did you forget why that brand came to you? You are the reason. Not because of, maybe that jacket that you got to wear, that lipstick you get to post about, that drink you get to have, is helping you amplify and grow that. But really, honestly, had you not started that profile online, they wouldn't have access to you and your audience. And if you really look at how you dissect someone's online presence, it's based on how they post, what they post, and when they post. And if you're laying on your bed at 7 o'clock at night and scrolling through Instagram and getting likes, there is someone that is relating to you. And we forget that we are part of a community and a bigger story. So stop talking like it's only you on the mic. There are other people. And that is what people forget, that it's all about connection. It's all about taking the time to hear someone, not just listen. You know, when someone is looking at you weirdly, like and my friends say it's a bad habit, but if I go to a shop and I'm about to pay for something, because firstly, I'm spending my hard-earned money, right? Secondly, if you're standing there with a mouthful of teeth, you're not saying hi to me, I'm going to ask you, are you having a bad day? What's wrong? What's going on here? Because for me just to come and be like, are you going to take a bag? No, it's fine, I have one in my bag. And I'm giving you my packet so you can pack it and I can leave. I've done exactly what 10 other people prior to me has done. They've just treated you like the number that you are. In actual fact, you're a person. And maybe you needed me to ask you that question because no one else did. Your husband didn't, your partner didn't, your friend didn't, the person on the bus just nudged you because you're taking up the space, even though it says it's the bus for us.
At least someone touched you for the day.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Everybody needs a little bit of a touching now and then. And people forget that. Now you're just asking me for my extra savings card. But really what you needed was for me to say to you for 2 seconds, are you okay? Why do you look so angry? Sometimes I get annoyed with it. I'm like, okay, you really are annoyed. It's not me, it's your boss. But why do we walk around and think that, we spoke about this in the beginning, that my problems are so much bigger and worse off than yours. But I'm getting into a car and going home with air conditioning. You must still go wait for the bus for an hour and travel home for an hour and then get home and have to sit through everything else and wake up at 5 and start that all over again.
It brings me back to what you were saying earlier. The thing that fascinates me about the city, ever since I was visiting 2-3 times a year, and I could never understand why the people who live here never experience the city. Because Cape Town is an experience. Nowhere else in the country where you're going to do half of the things you can do here. But I don't know anybody who lives here.
Guys, I know somebody that is 20 that's lived in Cape Town. She's 28 years old. She was born and raised here in the southern suburbs of Cape Town. She's never been to Boulders Beach. And the first thing she said to me was, don't you pay to go there? I said, there's the problem. There's the problem.
The fact that train is literally a smidge to go all the way to Muizenberg side.
You live in Fischhoek and you can't go to Boulders Beach.
No, guys.
But you can tell me about going to Camps Bay. Why do you go to Camps Bay?
Because all the influencers are there.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a thing of, like, for example.
No.
That's why foreigners, if you tell a foreigner, like a lot of my friends are foreigners, they're from somewhere in Africa. And I can't tell any of my friends that there are no jobs in South Africa. I can't, because it's proximity, right? I think sometimes when you're too close to something, you don't really see it.
You can't, yes.
So for them, it's like, they can't tell me that because for them, it's like, I don't know why I'm more educated than South Africans. That's what they told me. And to be honest with you, a lot of them, they're from Kenya and Uganda. They know more about South Africa and Cape Town more than I do. Because also they don't take things for granted.
Because I feel like people are so lazy. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. They are lazy. They don't want to explore.
You have a cell phone.
Guys, friends of mine have an opportunity to go to an arts festival in Oudtshoorn. They don't want to get into the transport or on the bus to drive that 5 hours. To go and experience something that someone else is giving them, but it stems from our culture, our roots. And I'm always just like, wanneer? When? If you're not going to do it today, when are you going to do it? Because in all honesty, you're never going to get the opportunity again. You know, we always say a next time. How many times in your life?
How many next times is there going to be?
How many times in your life did you get a next time? I can't count it. I can maybe say twice. And that's because my parents afforded me that opportunity growing up where they're like, you won't go on that trip this year, but next year you'll go, and I did go. But not everyone can say that they got there. So to your point about foreigners who come here, it's so weird that when I moved to Cape Town, I was working at a radio station doing a gig guide on a Thursday evening, telling Cape Townians, at the time as a Pretorian, I still pride myself on being one, on what to do. It was wild for me. It was wild for me that they used to call us Joe Burgers, that we had Joe Burgers on a predominantly Cape Town-based radio station telling Cape Townians where to go out. It was, I didn't understand the dynamic then, but years later when I moved from broadcast media into print media, and I worked at a newspaper, it was called The Next 48 Hours. And I was a columnist there, and I remember I used to write all about fashion content and lifestyle content. And I was sitting at a Cape Town Fashion Week, and a big car brand used to be the sponsor, and you would know this. And we were sitting at this media conference, and this lady looked up at me and she was like, do you have a question? I said, yeah, why are the tickets so expensive when Cape Townians earn less than 5,000 Rand a month?
Because it wasn't for Cape Townians.
And you have to buy a ticket for every show, and there's 5 shows in a night, and this is over 4 nights.
Wow.
So if I'm buying a ticket at 100 Rand a night, that's at 100 Rand a show for 4 nights. I'm spending over 2,000 Rand just on tickets. That's almost half my monthly salary. And you're telling me that I don't get this, I don't get that, I don't get this. But in the front row, the people are getting free food, free drinks, and a goodie bag.
Yeah.
What are you doing to show Cape Townians that they are included here?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing you need to realize, what I've learned about being in Cape Town is because the economic areas and where people live, there's such a very big gap.
Yeah.
One of my friends told me that per month, 43% of the salary goes to transport. I mean, how much do
Guys,
we
I used
have?
to be that statistic until I moved closer to town.
Exactly. So for me, it's like even events like that. How many events of amazing events do we see in communities that are in proximity with the people to help them with?
And I get
so
that,
there's this
but then the
economic gap
community
as
also
well.
doesn't want to support it.
But that's my thing. So the
Then
biggest,
there's that.
the biggest issue I think I have, and the reason why I brought this up in the first place was because I find that this idea of close proximity to one another and being afraid to leave the city and explore new things is kind of inhibiting people from learning what it is they need to learn to actually get access to those spaces.
I hear you.
Right?
Also,
Joburg has
Cape Town
that.
is not that integrated as well.
But it's still
We
so
live in
segregated
silos.
because
We literally live
and
in
it stays
silos.
segregated like that because the people refuse to even cross lines when it comes to collaboration.
Yeah.
Since I came here, I've been trying to do collaborations with people, and they just refuse. And I'm like, that mindset doesn't push anybody forward because you wanna do your business in isolation. There's no expansion opportunities because no one's gonna know what it is you're doing outside of your small circle of people.
I mean, understand it as well. I mean, if you say, if I'm selling bananas and you're selling bananas, he's selling bananas, there's no way on earth I'm going to allow you to sell bananas next to me. So
But that's why we collaborate.
Sometimes the pool is a little bit, we're fishing in the same pond. So if I'm selling bananas, maybe sell apples. So that I don't
But
see
that's
the
what I'm saying. That's how the collaboration works because we don't have to do competition.
Because maybe your
I have a
bananas comes with something mine doesn't.
Exactly. Oh wait, you
Yeah,
can
but
sell.
that's
I
going
can
to cost
sell.
a beef though.
But it
also,
doesn't
why
have
don't we
to.
talk to one
Is
another?
my
Like we
point.
sit on. I'm a big supporter of public transport. Until today, I pride myself in it. Whilst I'm very much equipped to drive, I love taking the bus. So I use my city everywhere I need to go if I'm not walking or cycling there.
Yeah.
But you sometimes sit on the bus for like a good 45 minutes to get from point A to point B. And nobody speaks to each other.
Yeah, no.
You don't greet the bus driver who's worked at least 4 hours before they're picking you up.
Yeah.
You don't stand up for the old lady that's standing with 4 packets and having had a long ass day.
Yeah.
Or the pregnant woman.
Or
I
calling
don't
out
get
the
that.
school child that's sitting there when the auntie is standing. And I'm thinking to myself, in Pretoria or anywhere else, but I don't know why it's like that in Cape Town. It's like the bus driver will stop that bus and tell you, Buddha, stand up, let the auntie sit there.
Yeah.
And we'll say to you, all the school kids go sit upstairs or sit at the back of the bus. They'll make a noise here in the front. We don't think like that.
Yeah.
So we grow up thinking that it's okay for us not to respect. And what is that? That is because at home, where charity should start, there ain't no charity.
I think it is taught though at home because I think coming from a village, from Limpopo coming here, I was taught that if I see you on the street, I'm supposed to nod or greet or smile. But the funny thing in Cape Town,
No, but that's in the
if you
village.
greet somebody, they're more like, what do you want?
Or they think you're trying to sell them something because the cultures are back here.
Also, they think you're homeless. I don't know if I look homeless. I mean, but
You don't, by the way, just to let you know. I give that shirt a
He
style.
works with homeless people. Shame.
maybe I smell like one. I may wear this.
Wow.
But the thing that in my culture, it's an insult to pass somebody by without greeting them. But I find it a lot of times in Cape Town, if you pass somebody and you greet them, it's more like, what do you want? And how can I help
Look,
you?
I get that.
literally,
I
I'll be
get
coming
that.
this way. I think it's because I walk like a tsotsi. Like literally, I would be like Moses opening the,
Oh wow.
and then the people will be like, I will be like, I'm very powerful.
Oh, wow.
But I don't like that because it's like, Why do you have to move away?
I hear you.
No, but you see, I get
It's
it.
a weird social phenomenon that I just don't
Let
get.
me explain, because I to an extent understand why that happens. And me and Claudia recently had this conversation, actually last week. My dad is from Cape Town, right?
Okay.
So being raised with my mom and my dad, the culture was to kind of teach you to stay in your house. We don't associate necessarily with outside people. I'm not exactly sure why, but I found
So
that
weird.
that mindset came with me to Cape Town.
Yeah.
Because when people greet me, because people greet me, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
hi. So now I'm becoming more open to it. But I realized, I said to Claudia the other day, it's the reason for that has more to do with feeling exposed. If you're a small business owner, you know the struggle of trying to market your products and services online. That's why us at Owning This Life have a little solution for you. With thousands of people in our community, both Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, we want to give you an opportunity to show off your products and services to all of these people at the same time. For more information on this marketing opportunity with Owning This Life, please email me at info@melisjogiet.com.
I just want to go into the fish a little bit. Where does your sense of style come from? Because I looked at your Instagram and I was like, man, because somebody's trying to get me into suits, and I'm like,
Love that.
I'm very
Who's
terrible.
somebody? Don't look
You?
at me.
I love a suit. Also, my voice just echoed. To answer like your question about the style, I get it often.
Yeah.
And I'll be very honest with you, it stems from my parents.
Okay.
Growing up till today, my parents have never put a foot wrong from us. They always put their best foot forward. And it's something that my mum especially would always ensure that me and my siblings looked our best. Not wearing the most expensive or the latest, but looking our best. And appreciating that my parents worked hard to give us that. So I do the same. Ever since I can remember, with even my very first salary that I got, is I always say to myself, and it's something that a lecturer said to me in my final year of varsity, is like, pay yourself first and then pay others. And not all the time, but when I've earned a nice amount of money, or I've worked really hard and I've achieved really well, I gift myself something beautiful. Whether in recent years, it's been for my home because I own an apartment and I make it beautiful. But it's also for myself. And I love looking good because then I feel good. And when I'm comfortable, trust me, we can run a mile together.
So,
and that's really where it comes from. And also, as cliche as it may sound, impressions and first impressions last. And I would rather be overdressed than underdressed or dressed inappropriately, because people also look at you, and I never want to be this thumb that's standing out. But I also don't mind being the unique one in the room.
I need to learn
so do you believe in the expression of people that dress you based on how you dress?
I'm all about my personality.
Okay.
And that day, I feel like I'm just going to be loud and in your face because that's who I am and how I'm feeling. I don't give a damn what you think about me on the bus or when I'm walking into a coffee shop, because did you pay for the clothes that I'm wearing? Are you wearing it?
Yes, sir.
Or am I the one that worked hard and paid for it? Or am I the one wearing it? And if I'm happy and comfortable, why am I please explaining myself to you? Because again, it goes back to what we spoke about earlier on, is that now I'm just fitting in. I'm in this box again, in what society wants me to do, and I'm not being authentic and I'm not being honest and real.
Last question. Do you put value into the clothes that you wear, or do the clothes that you wear
give you value?
Gives me value. I do believe in investing in things that I want to have for forever, because I don't feel like I want to constantly be giving into mass retail. But what I do pride myself on is always ensuring that I am wearing the clothes and the clothes is not wearing me. And in the same way, I'm not going out to buy expensive clothes. I don't really own designer things because I don't believe in that. Also just because I really can't afford it. But there are beautiful things that I will acquire for myself because I've worked hard to achieve them.
Because some people have a problem. It's like, I'm shopping at Checkers, or you can pay,
Does it matter where you're shopping as long as you look good?
Yeah, but some people, that's why, the reason why I asked that question is because the brand sometimes makes people feel...
No, apparently there's a name for that in Cape Town. It's called Gam.
Like also, I don't need to wear one particular brand from head to toe, because that is also not me. Will I buy all the clothes from one store?
I don't want to be a walking... billboard.
You're not advertising for them. It's like the minister who had the Gucci on, the big Gucci. I was just like,
How much they paying?
No, but I love your
that
style.
as well. Thank
And
you.
you're just actually just speaking to me because I'm actually a very lazy dresser, to be very honest. Like, you're not going to see
lazy
this.
dresser tried to
I'm
dress
lazy
me up.
dressing. Today was a lazy dressing
Excuse
day
me?
for me.
Yeah, you tried. I mean,
No, we're on screen.
So what?
And you look both look very cute, by the way.
This man's trying.
Gets a nod.
Thank you so much.
We tried.
Okay, I wanna go into one topic before we close this off. We spoke earlier about you were very open about.
Yes.
No, I'm not gonna ask you about your sex
No,
life.
fine. So I was going to say it's non-existent, darling.
Sad joke.
For neither of us. Okay. But you spoke that you said on one of the podcasts that you had a conversation about how your coming out
Yes.
story. Now I know you're Muslim. That can be a very difficult topic to bridge, especially now when it's Ramadan now.
Yeah.
It won't be when we're done with this. But I want to know, coming from the culture that you come from and coming out, being Muslim and your dad being Indian, like you said, and coming out to your family as gay. I know in traditional circles and in cultural circles that can be a very difficult thing to do. And because of the work that I do, I speak to a lot of people who come out to me and say, I don't know how to tell my family that this is what's going on with me because this is what's happening at home. I'm afraid they're going to cut me off. What was your mindset when you were doing it, and what do you think about what should be happening in spaces like this, especially in 2024, religiously, when we're talking about the different gender classifications, I guess?
I think firstly, it's very important if I look at for myself when I came out. I was 15. I understand that everyone's reaction also came from a very uninformed space, especially my dad, my mom a little bit as well. But my sibling that initially told on me was also just concerned because she was also somewhat uninformed. And their perceptions of what a gay man would be or should be versus really what I am today, which is the polar opposite of what they thought I would be like.
Do you want to define that?
So they thought I would be literally way more feminine and maybe coming home wearing women's clothes because again, that's how society has perceived a gay man to be, right? You can't be butch, you can't wear men's clothing, you have to dress a certain way, speak a certain way, act a certain way, walk a certain way because that's how gay people do it. And that is really how they saw it until I made it my mission to show them that's really not what it's like. You know, and you can be a man but still be gay and attracted to other men. You know, and yes, not taking away from feminine bodies and people that are very in touch with their feminine side, whether they are heterosexual or a homosexual. There are men that are heterosexual and very in touch with their feminine side, and you know, they paint their nails and they dress a certain way. They may even wear females' clothing, but they're very much attracted to women or very much attracted to men, whatever it may be. It's the same with some women that are very butch, that are very much attracted to men and have beautiful children. And that for me is very important when coming out, is that be informed. Make it also your mission to inform them of what it is that they may question. You know, if you yourself are questioning it for yourself, then you know that someone else is going to question, so get that informed. But most importantly is come out to yourself first. And accept who you are for yourself. You are born that way. You know, it's not that you woke up one day, you had a glass of something, and now all of a sudden I'm different. It's not like that. You know, it's very much getting in tune with self, accepting self for who you are, and then being able to express yourself to the next person. And trust me, it'll make the process a little bit easier. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's one of the biggest things that you'll do in your lifetime. But I'm also a firm believer in when you do it for the right reasons and the reasons of ensuring that the other person knows and they feel included in your life, trust me, because you've included them, they will feel included, and therefore they're going to want to understand it better. And use the information that you provided them with.
I mean, one of the things that you said, she said, I work with homeless people, and some of the people that we work with are, they're gay. And I think one of the most painful things that I've heard on the street is that people end up on the street because they're being cut off by their families because of their sexuality.
Which is a big statistic, and it's a sad thing, and it's something that I hope one day, given the spaces that I am in, I'm able to help people like that. Maybe just tell them that they're not alone. And it's very sad. I see it all the time, especially in Cape Town. But I mean, I've seen it all over the country, where because you've also chosen to stand in your truth, others are not ready for it.
Yeah.
And it's a bold move to go and come out to your family and friends and colleagues, people at, your religious circles and things like that. But as sad as it is, and I know that there are many people that's their reality, I do think that a lot of it can also be prevented and changed had those families that did isolate and cut off, had they had better information. And I think it's society's responsibility, and it's the main media's responsibility to take it upon themselves to educate people better and educate themselves. We speak about all sorts of things and politics and things like that, but the politics of being human is something that people are so tone deaf to, and we really need to own and zone in on that. And every person in society, no matter your age, race, or creed, has a responsibility to make society a little bit more acceptable, a little bit more comfortable for everybody, no matter what their preference sexually or religious or in any aspect of life is.
I mean, you're bringing this at a perfect time when it comes to Human Rights Month.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I told somebody is that it doesn't feel like we have human rights. I think we have black rights.
Yeah.
And colored rights. Age,
white rights, and my age allows me to have this opinion, and my
so
economic
people have rights based on
circumstances.
who they are and how they look and what their
And that is
sexuality
so wrong. It shouldn't be like that at all. Yeah.
That's interesting, because a lot of the conversations that I have is around the fact that we don't focus on our humanity anymore. We're focused now more on our status than anything else. Which
religion.
I'm hoping that in a place like Cape Town, where I think Cape Town is still very much behind the rest of the country when it comes to expansion for certain groups and that kind of thing, that they go the right way and focus more on the humanity, as opposed to what Joburg is doing now, where being a celebrity matters. And that is what's going to get.
And having 15,000 Instagram followers is more important than taking 15 minutes to listen to someone and their coming out story.
And being available to them.
Exactly, and supporting them.
Man, that is the most important thing to me. This is the reason why we have this, because we want people to get to know the people behind who they see on social media, because you guys are people who have stories and have been through stuff, and for some reason that screen makes people believe that no, you must have this most amazing
and it's not. I battle with it till today. I walk in shopping centers in the last few weeks, and I see how generationally it's filtered down. Like, I'm uninformed about sexual orientation, therefore my child is uninformed. Therefore, when the shop assistant at the store is a queer body, it's okay for you and I to laugh about it together. But what if that child is also hiding the fact that they're queer, and now you know what I mean? Like, and that was something that and the reason they were smiling at it is because it was a relatable moment for them. You've taken that away from them. And for me, we spoke earlier about mental health. That is a direct, unhealthy way of thinking mentally. And the minute we make radical change in who we are and how we think and how we do things, your life is so much easier.
I mean,
it's not perfect, but it's easier.
And you're speaking about mental health. What I've discovered is that the minute people become isolated, they start to struggle with mental health. And the funny thing is, people will isolate you, and then you have mental health, and then they laugh at you. It's like, what's wrong with you? What do you mean, what's wrong with me? I mean, you disconnected me from my main source.
Because I didn't fill in the gap that you expected from me, because I'm not like that.
I'm so tired of people saying to me, but it must be. No, I have a friend. We constantly speak about a lot of different things, and one of the things we talk about is body dysmorphia. And she is someone who battles with weight, and it's for medical reasons that she does. And I say to her all the time, I say, when people are asking you about it, it is your right to express how you feel, but it's your responsibility to inform them as to why you have that battle. It is my right to say, I'm queer, I'm a gay man, but it's my responsibility to educate you on what it means to be a gay man. Just like it is your responsibility to educate me on why, as a heterosexual person, you've decided after 25 years of marriage to get divorced. It's my right to ask, and it's your right to say A, B, and C, but it's your responsibility to educate the next person on the fact that these are the reasons.
You see, I have a 50-50 there with that. Okay. Because when we're talking about education, and I'm going to talk about this in a racial context, right? Remember when the natural hair movement came out, there was this big conversation going on in the US about why is it my responsibility as a black woman to teach white people why my natural hair is important to me, right? And the thing I think we have to think about is in a 2024 sort of situation where people have phones all the time, you have access to information, and there's literally education pieces online where you can learn about the lived experiences of someone who's not the same as you, that it doesn't put all the responsibility in that person's hands. And what we make the mistake of assuming is that simply because that is your life and this is your lived experience, I need to come to you to give me all of the information, when in fact I could actually just be overstepping every boundary. We need to really also reckon with the fact that if I don't know something, part of that is my responsibility to find out, so I don't put myself in a position of judgment based on the fact that I think I'm better somehow simply because I'm different.
I mean, the other
and
thing
it's really
is,
not.
Yeah, if you see another human being as less human being, there's no way you're going to want to learn about them. Because that's the block,
exactly.
Right? The block is right there. They're not human.
And you know, it's because we all have made it so okay, and we spoke about this at the beginning of our chat, is that my problems are greater than yours. We walk around with this chip on our shoulder that I am bigger than you, I've done more, I've got more designer handbags than you, therefore I'm a more important person. Ciao, no.
And what I tell people is that we all go to the toilet.
Of course.
We all sit on the toilet, we all do a number 2.
And nobody's dying with those designer handbags. So there's
you know what I mean? But we all die of very similar life choices, diseases, circumstances, and at the end of the day, every person has an expiry date. Everything in life has an expiry date.
Whether you're a rich person, you're going to be buried next to a poor person. So what's wrong with you?
Because you all, at some point, have to say goodbye to the life that we are currently living. But
yeah, guys, I feel like we gave Cape Town a lot to talk about. Let's hope we get the
a little bit too much. I'm sure they're going to come at me, but that's also fine.
No, you know what? I feel like the whole point of all of this is we need to kind of open the conversations in people's homes.
Absolutely.
I mean, Only This Life started initially with the mindset of the aunt who doesn't have a job, who takes her children to school in the morning and is sitting and watching Dr. Phil. And they're not actually teaching her or giving her information that is going to help her to push herself forward, right? If we're not having these vulnerable conversations in our homes, then what is the point? You know, why would you have children if you're just going to expect them to learn from everything you got from your history? You know, we're trying to break those patterns, break those mindsets. But I really appreciate you coming here, especially on such short notice. Like
anytime for you guys. Anytime. We should do it again.
I'm glad you said you're an open book, because to be honest with you, I've learned so much.
Thank you.
Just
I always try and ensure that I leave a little bit of myself. Every experience should be a learning.
I know you sprinkled a lot of love up in this place.
You.
You walked in with the whole energy.
Have me again. I will come and hang out with you guys and talk about something else.
Oh, thank you so much.
Make sure that we kill the dinosaur next time.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a dinosaur outside.
Fine, guys. We are also in close to the CBD and there was a lot happening. So the ambient noise was too much for you listening. We hope you got the actual information.
Yeah, no, it's important. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today on Only This Life. I'm so glad that Shiraz was here. And Phineas, want to say something to the people here?
I don't know people, but I'm back. You know, I may disappear every now and then, but hey.
Because he's a celebrity.
He's the real famous one, yeah.
He is.
I'm not.
But you are. You were literally on the show this morning. Anyway, we are at Cactus Corner. I just want you guys to follow them on Instagram. Their coffee, like I said in last week's episode, is amazing. Okay, it's in Salt River, so make sure to check them out. Thank you to everyone who joined us. You can send us an email to info@maliyashowgear.com if you have any questions.
Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It's amazing information. Thank you for being with us. Peace out.
Bye!